I'm hesitant if I want to actually say this, but I think Matthew Stafford's probably a sell high. He is, I believe, currently the number 3 quarterback, number 2 quarterback in CBS scoring, number 3 in per game. I don't really like I can believe it with Brady more than I can believe it with Stafford. I think eventually we'll see some of these running quarterbacks that will be more what we thought they would be in terms of fantasy production. I think Stafford's probably closer to Justin Herbert than he is to Tom Brady. And so maybe that's a good thing. See what you can get in addition to Justin Herbert for Matthew Stafford.
Okay. Dave, any sell highs come to mind?
Yes. Damian Harris is a sell high. 6 of his next 7 games are coming against teams that are ranked in the top 10 of fewest fantasy points allowed to opposing running backs. They are matchups where I wonder if the Patriots are going to have to throw more and run less. Not easy matchups. And that makes me nervous to trust Damien Harris in those types of games. So yeah, I'd like to see what I could get for him in a trade. And we've talked a lot about Dallas Goddard as a sell high candidate. I know you guys totally disagree. It depends on how you feel about the tight end position. If you just want a good, safe starter rest of season, Goddard's fine. Keep him. But I think a lot of people would like to have a tight end like that on their fantasy teams, and they might even overpay for them. And so Goddard is someone who it's good fantasy production. 2 games without Zach Ertz so far, double digits in PPR, 7 points in non-PPR. That's fine. But if you need help elsewhere on your team and you can pick up another tight end off the waiver wire, maybe someone like Pat Freiermuth, then I would see what you could get for Goddard. And if you can get someone to bite hard for him, you should trade him.
I have one question on each player. And I don't know the answer to the first one. I don't know the answer to either of them. But with Damian Harris, I kind of think in terms of his strength of schedule, it is more about how good the opposing offense is as opposed to how good the opposing run defense is.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, right? Because it's a game script thing for him.
Like they play the Panthers, the Browns, the Falcons, the Titans in their next 4 games. And I think the Panthers and Browns for sure have very good run defenses. I think the other 2 are mostly pretty bad. But like this week at Carolina, is that a bad matchup for Damian Harris because their run defense has been good or they've been good at preventing fantasy points to running backs? Or is it a good matchup because their offense is so bad the Patriots are going to run the ball 25 times anyway?
That was what I was thinking. Yeah. I mean, the Panthers are number 1 against running backs, so it's a very tough matchup in that respect. But I don't know. But he also has 2 games against the Bills. He's got a game at the Colts.
The Bills games are the 2 on his remaining schedule that would bother me.
Yeah. And also, I mean, I think he's probably he's a top 10 running back, at least in non-PPR. I don't know what he is in full PPR. I'm going to check right now. But he scored a touchdown in 4 or 5 straight games, Damian Harris.
Mm-hmm.
He is 13th in full PPR. So might just be a sell high anyway with 10 catches.
Think of like guys in that range. Like if you could sell Damian Harris for Clyde, would you do it in full PPR?
No. I'm looking for more.
What about Chase Edmonds?
I'm looking for more.
I don't know what you can get because you're not going to get.
When I say a guy is sell high, that doesn't mean get him off your team. He's going to be miserable the rest of the year. It means try and get a lot more than what you might be able to get for him in 2 weeks.
How about David Montgomery? Would you give him up for David Montgomery?
If I need to win now, no. If Harris is my 3rd running back, then maybe.
Okay. All right.
So
and then
sell really high. The other one, the Dallas Goddard one, I'm like comparing in my head Goddard to Kyle Pitts. For the season, I think per game, they are very, very close. Now, Goddard obviously had some time with Ertz. I am just a little bit worried with what we saw last week with the Atlanta offense against Carolina. The next 3 games, the number 1 corners for those teams, Lattimore, Diggs, and JC Jackson. I don't know that every team's going to put their number 1 corner on Kyle Pitts, but we've talked so much about how he's playing outside like a wide receiver. And so I'd assume most of those teams are going to treat him like a wide receiver. And if there's no Ridley there, there's no other wide receivers you need to cover.
didn't watch him, did
I
you?
watched all of it. I watched every route for Pitts.
And how often was he double teamed?
He was double teamed a lot. I mean, a lot of it was linebacker underneath, and he even said that he got more over the top coverage. But Matt Ryan Matt Ryan said that Kyle Pitts was getting double teamed more than any rookie he had seen since Julio Jones. So he was getting double teamed with Ridley on the field. So I don't know anything's that different. You know, I think he's still going to get a ton of targets.
I know Scott Fish had said that Chin had been on him a lot. And then when Chin wasn't, it was usually Gilmore was one of the guys that was on him. So I'm pretty worried about Kyle Pitts without Calvin Ridley.
Okay. All right. Well, Dallas, by the way, Pitts is averaging 12.5 PPR points per game. Goddard 10.3. Maybe it's closer in non-PPR. I mean, the overall number, no, Pitts has 484 yards. Goddard is 358.